Well, 26 in your picture. There he is, the racing star, the superstar, I believe, Nico Verhoeven, one of the greatest we've ever had at 9 and 10 years of age. He's gone on to win a New Zealand International, American title, so what a sensation. And here he is, followed by Mason Estagago. And for Mason, that is a very good second place when you're a young rider coming out of Australia. I suppose, you know, in some ways you think about it as what a major challenge for it. But on the other hand, kids, you know, they don't get sort of, they don't get that pressure of life building up. You know, it's only as you get older that you start to feel it. And, you know, to go to another country, you think, well, what a major adventure for him. It's just another moto track, isn't it? Hey, it's in school holidays. We'll just go over to New Zealand and ride a track over there. And there's plenty of sand tracks, of course, in Oz as well. So it's not as if we'd be unfamiliar with this kind of terrain. Back in the 90s, of course, Turbo Sound, we did a fair bit of commentating work in Australia. Never forget those days. And we were at the likes of places like Oakdale in New South Wales. What a cool place that was. You know, we were out in the boondocks, and the boys would have the bivvy, and we'd have a fire at night and sitting around having a yarn and a chat and talking good Aussie Kiwi stories, and absolutely loved it. And a kid winning on the day on a Suzuki RM125 called Chad Reed, and of course gone on to be such a hero, the greatest Australian rider of them all, although that might be eclipsed in the next couple of years by a couple of other likely brothers. But anyway, you get the idea. So some cool times. Also out there with the Marmont boys, going back to the days of young Ryan, of course. He was on the little stretched 60s. They didn't have a 65. Kawasaki had a 60. And to make them a safer and better performing bike, they actually put an extended swing arm onto them. And they actually, again, for a good example, put them out on the big track and not just on the little track as well. So pretty darn cool. So yeah, a lot of good names, a lot of good memories, and some cool guys. You know, Michael Byrne went on to become an Australian champion as well. So also Robbie Marshall and Cam Sinclair, of course. The Sink, of course, we've known great things. And what about Bilko? What about now? There was a great Victorian, did a lot of racing. He rode at the mighty Motorwitty track, the home of the Gold Coast Club. Came over and rode a North Island Champs on a Honda CR 85. And went on to be a world freestyle motocross star. But check him out, Bilko, all-round super guy. I love Bilko's personal presentation. He is one rad kind of a guy and a neat guy as well. And along with his super dad, they came to New Zealand to enjoy our sport of motocross, and one of our great families. So they have a lot of stories to tell about our Aussies that have come over to New Zealand. And, you know, here's just another young kid joining that growing list. As we know, a lot of Kiwis have gone over there, sure have. And you've got the likes of Ruben Smith, who we've talked to and interviewed today. He's actually basically training and living over here there at the moment, and doing a lot of his good riding 4 days a week and picking on some of those major events, doing the MX3 class, we called it. The MX3 is effectively rebranding over there of their a former under-19 class of what they were doing. So the young guys coming through have got a stepping stone before they go to the big teams in MX2 to get on board. And speaking about MX2, what about our own Brodie Connolly? Hey, how good is that, man? Brodes, you've hit it big time, real time. You're absolutely amazing. He was a junior superstar. In fact, it'll go down on record that he did not win many junior titles. Why? Because he had a bigger picture, and he would often be out of racing at the time. I remember Hamish Dobbin as well. In fact, quite often this time of year, there might have been a major event on in Victoria, Australia, and Hamish would sacrifice doing New Zealand juniors because he was looking at being picked up by those Aussie teams to go on and do some better riding. And had the fortune of picking up on Hamish. He was there with his little daughter at the King of the North event. I commentated north of Auckland just 2 weeks ago. So Hamish Dobbin, a cool story. Hamish hasn't changed, his lovely partner Heather. And man, oh man, his little girl, talk about swanky. She, man, what an attitude for that young lady. And she loves to go out and ride. Of course she's going to win. She's on the famous Yamaha PW50, the coolest little mini bike of them all. So great stories to tell about our next generation, and more importantly, our older generation with those riders that we've had go between New Zealand and Australia on a regular basis. Of course, when Josh Coppins went to Australia, he KA'd, he kicked them over there big time. And that was a whole big story out there when Josh turned around and said to the moto guys, you should be doing your cross country because you'll make an improvement with your motocross. So, wow, when he stepped on that one, it was a big one. Of course, Daryl King, probably one of the great heroes. In fact, son Chris was at Horsham 2 weeks ago and said that the DK bike from the 90s, the first ever Yamaha 4-stroke, the YZ400F, was on display, the Nokia race bike, and raced at the time by CDR pilot, our own DK, Mr. Daryl King, who, by the way, rode MX1 last weekend at the Taranaki round of the final of the Yamaha Motocross Nationals. Cool stories about cool guys and cool bikes, and more about Australia and New Zealand. We're 2 countries at the bottom of the world. It's coming up towards Anzac Day next week. There's never been a more notable time when the New Zealanders and Australians become as one to make a true force on the international fighting front. And both in World War I and World War II, there's some great stories that are known about internationally about how these 2 little countries came together to beat the villains of the world at the time. All right, here we are back to our racing with our 8 to 10 years class. I see little Corbin out there. He's picking up on another placing. So Nico Mason, 1-2. Finn Baker in there on the 112 bike. Go to Finn there at the moment. The Whakatane Motorcycles, Luca Trailer's bike. So good work from young Finn. I see back there Levi Corbin, Vinny Dixon, Nico McMaster in there, bound 18th, followed by Cooper Bennett, Cooper Black. And I think we had our 3 Coopers before, didn't we? But we've got at least 2 of them next to each other there at the moment. Speaking about Cooper, what about our Cody Cooper? At 40 years of age, ladies and gentlemen, he did have the NZ number 1 plate from 2023. He's ended up number 2 in 2024 and still says that he's enjoying motocross and getting a lot out of it and loving the new Gas motorcycle as well. So hopefully the CML Gas team keep him on for another year, because he's starting to hint that he might have 1, maybe 2 years left in him at the moment. But man, what a legend. When you're at your form doing as well as you are, at over 40 years of age, is an incredible story, because motocross is generally for the 20-year-olds. When you're in your 30s, you're in the twilights, but now that he's hit 40, it's a mega performance. Remembering Daryl King was a multi-time New Zealand champion at over 40 as well, so we shouldn't let that legacy drift away from us too much. All right, here we are back to our racing at the moment in our spectacular 8 to 10 years 85 class. Altherm Window Systems made proudly here in the mighty Manawatu, and ready for your home, your cabin, your lifestyle block, your home add-on, your alterations, your amendments. Of course, whether it be you've already got some good single glazing, but you want to save a whole lot of money, keep your family warm, and go to the double glazing. They're more elegant, they're more technically advanced, and of course you can do the tinting as well, so you've got an opportunity to keep your heat in, and you just don't want it so that it's that bright that you've got all that sun coming in to make it too hot inside on those hot, awesome summer days. All of it from Altherm Window Systems. Talk to them, and I know exactly about it. That's what the word system is, you know. What's the ventilation, what's the cooling, what's the addition? Is it single glaze, is it double glaze, or now triple glazing as well, that is stipulated on homes, for example, in Centro Otago and Queenstown. Building a new home now must be triple glazed, and like I say, I was in one of those places in June last year, and to touch your inside window of a triple glazing, there was zero moisture, of course, no condensation whatsoever, and the fact that it was also almost warm to touch rather than the cold of glass, which you've always been used to. So check it out, Altherm Window Systems. Put them on your next build. All right, back to the racing. Nico Mason, Finn and Tanner Manson, remembering he got the whole shot, so looking out to see whether he can still run with these dudes. Oh, he got the whole shot, I should say, in the 65 race. This is like Nico and like Mason. Tanner's another one doing the double classing. So we talked before about how many we're doing the big double classing of the big ones, like the 125 and 250, and there's nobody doing that. But here, to see all these young kids that are doing it, I just say, wow, how can their bodies handle it? How punishing is it for the smallest bikes with the tiniest wheel circumference to ride the roughest of the tracks, to then put on this amazing moto performance, not just once but twice, both with 65 and 85cc rides. So you guys are legends with a capital L, and they don't moan about it. So bring it on with some great racing. Remembering we're only going to the 15 to 16s today. That's all our program all. There's our letter E to go past for Mason. So well done as he lines that. Izagalis. So Mason out there at the moment. So cool to see. Want to do a shout out for Brianna Thomason. Brianna, of course, in this male-dominated class, running in a 21st place. No, you won't get a point being in 21st, but hey, with her hopefully a bit of luck on her side, maybe able to pick up that 17 or 18 as well, give her some points and give her a true placing in New Zealand. If you could turn around and come away from a championship event, say you're in the top 20 in New Zealand, man, oh man, what a thrill that would be for so many of our kids, and we wish them all the very best to do so. Counting it down at the moment, 2 laps to go on our update. Altherm Window Systems, Nico and Mason are still your front runners. Bike number 26 and bike E, our 2 stars out there. Hey, just a reminder, folks, of that support that AFC are putting on. So for your motorcycle, and particularly with Yamaha, but other brands are supported as well. So if you find you need some technical service support and work done, then of course AFC have it available. Ask for Liam down there and find out a place and a way and something to do your bike. Might be tonight, might be you're starting to just have that bit of a smell of a clutch maybe. So making sure you've got a good bike ready for 2 more race days. Then check out AFC and see what they've got for you. Well, effectively for the club workers, a 4-day weekend, massive setup day here, along with 3 days of racing. So there we are, coming up towards the halfway mark. So the boys have been putting it in, some sleepless nights and a lot of effort behind the scenes as well. So well done to the club. You know, probably interesting. Many other clubs that have top events around the country have some buildings, have some infrastructure. Of course, for this club, virtually nothing. Although now getting a container at the finish line for the admins made a huge improvement. And, you know, the likes of a Woodville where we have 0 buildings because you can't have any buildings in that area, which is why we have it for a motocross track, because it's a flood-prone area, as we've well proved in 2023. That's another story. But anyway, to have these events which require a lot more, it's not like as if you turn up the club rooms, open the door, all your gear's there, you've got all your infrastructure in place, girls have a place to go to do the sign-on, you know, you've got food facilities, you've got the power on, the whole lot. We start from scratch here, need our own power, need our own track, the whole lot. So I think it's awesome the way the club can do so much more work than you'd otherwise have done to get a great facility like this underway. Here we go. The gas is on, looking out for this one, 8 to 10 years. And looking for these kids to fly at the moment. Nico Mason, Finn Tanner in there, the Finn Baker ride, that is impressive. Indeed to be holding on to his own out there, so good work. These kids getting a real plus in here to be doing the extra racing today over and above what our program was for. Of course, originally going to the end of round number 1, but then we realised, hey, we want to still keep on racing and get as much in as possible. We are, of course, going all the way through to our 15 to 16 125s, which is our next class up. Next class up will be the last class of the day. So 15 to 16 125s. And here we are now with time at 10 to 4, probably a finish around, maybe is at quarter past, 20 past 4. And a lot of work for those boys to do in the limited sort of 2 hours of daylight left. So that's why they want so much time at the end of the day to do their track work. Well, 104 and doing it so well. There we are with the victory. Well done, Nico. Nico Verhoeven. Nico's got it. Of course, Nico out there ahead of Mason. So Mason picks up on that second place, but Nico keeps his dominance, won everything so far. Put it together with a back-to-back and a back-to-back 65, back-to-back 85. So Nico Verhoeven putting in an awesome motor. This is a kid you'll want to get to know, get to see. If you're a member of the public, if you're just a racer, anybody enjoying the sport, look out for our next champion. Say you were at Manawatu in 24 to see what this man has in store. I'm sure he'll go on to even greater feats, and we know what he already is in excelling at. Would surely go on to do better. So let's look out for him. It is the mighty Nico Verhoeven. His interview coming up next. Well, taking another opportunity to catch up with him at the moment.